All we do here at Philly Sports Network is put out good content and spill tea. And I'm all out of tea. Now, I'm lucky because, I mean, there is a drip there. Now, I thought that was going to land on my lap. So, we're not out of tea because there's no news to talk about. We're out of tea because I spilt most of it trying to record an intro for last episode. So, there's that. But welcome, guys, to another episode of This Week in Philadelphia Sports. It's a new series here on our YouTube channel where we recap everything that's happened in the last 7 days. And unfortunately, it's been a bit of a quiet one, with the main news being there is no news. So that's always a strong starting point when you're doing a news show. So without further ado, we're going to get into things and start with the Philadelphia Phillies. Now, the big news in that camp, obviously, is that Bryce Harper still isn't a Philly. Now, at this point, no one really knows what's going on. I was personally hoping that he would cure me of my crippling loneliness on Valentine's Day, but he didn't do that. So we're still in that same boat, waiting for old Brycey to sign. Now, in the meantime, we've had a new team come in the front running for it. We've had the Vegas odds change. We've had Harper then liking and commenting on Rhys Hoskins' Instagram photo, which is borderline flirting, might I add, at this point in the social media world we live in. But alas, there is still no Bryce Harper in Philadelphia. Now, they're out there for spring training at the moment in Clearwater, Florida, and everyone's like, oh, what's going to happen if Bryce signs? Like, he's missed so much time, and let's be honest, the guy is an elite talent. He's probably already a Hall of Famer in many senses. We don't have anything to worry about except the fact he might not be playing for the Phillies. Now, the MLB offseason has literally nothing on the NFL or the NBA. The NBA, the players make their own destiny and ruin the lives of owners year after year, thanks to what old LeBron's doing. Whereas in the NFL, obviously, it's a very different story. You've got stars all over the place, you've got teams making trades, you've got plenty of action when it comes to free agency and cap space and that sort of thing. So there's never really a dull moment. The only headlines coming out of baseball have been Bryce Harper and Manny Machado, with none of them wanting to sign first. And I don't think it's because they don't want to be the first guy to take the smaller check. I just genuinely believe it's like, well, once they sign, that's it. Baseball's done until about the playoffs. So it's like, what do they do? As soon as Bryce Harper finds his team, it's like, oh, well, that's over. It's like when you're a kid and you're at a birthday party, okay? And the best bit, without a shadow of a doubt, are the goodie bags at the end. When you get like a little spinning top and you get a party streamer and you get a little notebook, like all sorts of little goodies and stuff in there. Now, if you get that at the start of the party, you're not going to stick around. You're going to start sliding on your knees at a disco, run outside and like probably pick up a stick and start hitting your mate or something. You don't stick around for the party. Now, the parents have got to make it last. You've got Pass the Parcel to play. You've got really dodgy party food that's going to make you ill to eat. There's so much to do. You've got really cliche bangers like doing the conga. You can't have a party without the conga, but if you get the goodie bag first, no conga. So that's literally, I think, what this is coming down to. You've got Machado, you've got Harper. If one of them signs, that's it. Like, the MLB offseason has no fun left. So they're trying to keep it fun. They're trying to keep it exciting. Bryce Harper is definitely playing into that with all the sus tweets and the loading sign on his Twitter and the Rhys Hoskins bromance. I think he's definitely playing on the fact that the whole world is waiting on his every move, when in reality, he's just at home playing a bit of Fortnite, probably making some scrambled egg for breakfast and living his best life. But that wasn't the only thing, ladies and gentlemen, in the Phillies news camp this year, because it turns out that Arrieta had battled injury last year. The pitcher said he tore his meniscus, went 1-5, and of course allowed over 6 runs per something or other that is a baseball number, and he just wasn't very good, which was bad. So apparently what happened was, out of nowhere, he got surgery in January. Now, I don't know about you, but if I literally walk into a wall and I stub my toe, I want surgery on that thing in the morning because it kills. A torn meniscus, I can imagine being a lot more painful than that, yet somehow he's only just had surgery this past month. So is this more Philadelphia injury coach slash medical staff slash controversy? Who knows? But either way, it's nice to see Arrieta on the mend and in spring training. So it's time to talk about the Philadelphia 76ers, where, believe it or not, the biggest news on that front actually came from a player who doesn't play on the team anymore. He got traded to a different one and is now just running his mouth. So here's what Markelle Fultz had to say about the Sixers. Well, not really the Sixers coaching staff, but something, presumably. So here's Markelle Fultz. Now, Drew Corrigan came out after this. Now, Drew Corrigan bedazzles me because I'm not actually sure what he does. Now, is he a Markelle Fultz burner account? I know he used to write for the Sixers Sense. I don't really know what he does. He put this out on Twitter, basically comparing what Fultz said about the Sixers coaching staff to what Joel Embiid religiously said in those couple of games that he was visibly frustrated. And the biggest difference here is that Joel Embiid, 1, was constructive and 2, was good at basketball. So does Markelle Fultz have any ammo? Now, I'd say if you're talking about Philadelphia injuries and the coaching staff and that sort of thing, sure, maybe he's got a leg to stand on. But I think, really, Philadelphia put up with all of his antics for longer than many places would. So whether or not Fultz breaks out into some superstar that Philly will later look back on like some ex-girlfriend that develops into a supermodel, I don't know. But as of right now, I find those comments very petty, very childish and immature, which is sort of the whole reason why the Sixers had to let him go. I mean, he is still a baby at the end of the day, in many senses of the word, eh, Mama Fultz? To have a sip of tea, there's no tea, because we've spilled it all. But yeah, that's kind of been the headline story coming out of Sixers camp this week. But there have been some others. For instance, the Sixers beat the Lakers, which got LeBron a little bit stroppy. And to me, that doesn't show a leader. That doesn't show one of the greatest of all time. That shows a player that's getting a bit petulant. He couldn't get his own way at the trade deadline, and he's going, I'm going to walk off. So, I don't know. I feel like, if I'm honest, the Sixers probably dodged a bullet by losing out to LeBron James. And sure, LeBron chose his own destiny, but at the end of the day, the Sixers are flying now. And if you look at their starting 5 to where it was a couple of years ago, you can make no argument that this is a clearly better starting 5. And if you had LeBron in it, would there be power problems? Would there be other sort of issues inside the locker room? Potentially. You've got a lot of ego there as it is. Elsewhere this week, the Sixers still can't beat the Celtics. I mean, that is just become the staple of this team at the minute, and I feel like even if you've got an elite starting 5, you're still going to have problems against Al Horford, which says a lot, really. And I don't know whether that's coaching, whether it's just a bogey team. Like, every team's got a bogey team. And I feel like for the Sixers, that's the worst case scenario to have the Celtics as your bogey team, because you're going to face them in the playoffs, you're going to face them in conference play, and they just can't seem to get it done. Like, the last 6 times, I think they're 1-5 off the top of my head. It's not a rivalry if it's one-sided, guys. I can't get into this if you're just going to get ruined every time and even choke it in the 4th quarter, even without Kyrie Irving. Like, that's the worst bit. This is a Celtics team without Kyrie. They should have won that on paper. They didn't. They didn't win it in, reality either, and that's a tough pill to swallow. And what honestly triggers me most about that loss was that the Celtics were falling apart, right? Like, you had Marcus Morris making comments about the team's competitiveness. You had Kyrie Irving going, oh, I don't know where I'm going to be next year. I never promised, right? Like, trying to get out of some event that he's promised to go to and now really can't be bothered. So this team was in disarray. Honestly, the way he rallied that locker room together, fair play to him. Meanwhile, Boston Brett is not really on that same level yet, I don't think. I feel like late game adjustments just aren't his forte, and the Sixers are still struggling in the turnover battle. But talking of turnovers, we almost very had an important turnover with Regina King's hair. Now, if you saw this in the game the other day, Joel Embiid went leaping into the sideline to save a ball, and this happened. Now, personally, I hadn't heard of Regina King. Maybe that's because I'm British and don't watch things like 24. But after a quick Google, I recognised, wow, she's quite an important person, so well done, Joel, for not ruining that weave and keeping the ball in play. And then meanwhile, in the All-Star weekend, Ben Simmons played in the Rising Stars Challenge, where I had money on him to be the MVP. So what happened? He just didn't do it because I put, money on him and he didn't. Oh, I love it. Bloody Ben, oh, great. And now we've got the All-Star game coming up tonight, unless you're watching this on Monday or any other day of the week, where it would have been before. So how's that gone? I don't know. Look at the box score and see how the boys played. But moving on to the Philadelphia Flyers, with the old jersey behind me, and their season is saved once more. But even they struggled to have a quiet week. So whether it was the Detroit overtime winner, where Travis Konechny scored his first ever overtime goal, or whether the team traded for Cam Talbot, I was at work and I was like, well, none of the Flyers guys are going to get to write a piece on this. Nothing's coming yet. So I'll do it. I'll take the reins, Like, I don't watch hockey enough, but I will take the reins on this and write an article. So I was writing about Stillars and the fact he's young, he's had a couple of injuries and surgeries in the last couple of years, and how it's a win now move. And then I realised that Cam Talbot actually auto-corrected to Cameron Toolbar. So that very nearly happened. So Cam Toolbar is now the Flyers' new goaltender, and I presume after this point we're going to see Brian Elliott on the move. Now, our writer Jamie Basco at Philly Sports Network has hinted for quite some time that after his conditioning stint with the Lehigh Valley Phantoms, that the veteran goalie will indeed be on the move. So whether we see that or no, Who really knows? But I think Brian Elliott at this point, if he is traded, it makes sense. You replace Talbot, who's been a quality starter for Edmonton, a quality backup for the Rangers. See, I did my homework. I had a Google. I know what's going on. And I think that you've got someone that's a mentor to Carter Hart, that's worked with him in the offseason. It just works best for both parties. The Flyers are in a win-now mode. They've clearly got their goalie of the future, who is now 12-6 since entering the NHL, with the same haircut as me, might I add. So me and Carter, BFFL, we're going out for dinner when I get to Philly. Don't write that off. That loops us over to our Philadelphia Eagles, who have done nothing. They've just not done anything, like, at all, this whole week. So instead, media has run wild going, should the Eagles trade for Antonio Brown? No. Should the Eagles acquire Le'Veon Bell? No. I want tea. I just want tea to spill. I can't. There's no more. But we've had Fournette, we've had Ramsey, we've had Bell, we've had Brown. There have been so many names that are just linked for the hell of it. It feels like people are losing the, I guess, the substance of this offseason. Like, it's getting to that point now. So at Philly Sports Network, meanwhile, we're putting out content where we've got draft prospects being interviewed. I've got 4 more to type up. They've already been done. 4 more to type up and post this week, which means 4 more film rooms as well. And of course, we've had the Eagles film room and a couple of things where we've had one of our writers do a draft encyclopedia and a couple of things like that. So I think that's going to be our mission statement, is that we don't want to do clickbait and stuff, especially in the off season. We want to give you guys content you enjoy. So if that's your sort of thing, phillysportsnetwork.com. If it's not, we're not going to mention the other outlets, but you know who they are. No tea to drink, no tea to spill. So, bit of a pointless joke. The week started off with Golden Tate tweeting about some apparent negotiations that weren't going very well. Now, again, we don't know the ins and outs of this and whether or not this is about the Eagles or whether or not where he wanted to take his holiday to Disney with his family. Not sure. Maybe he wanted Disneyland Paris, maybe he wanted Florida. It's a tough choice. But either way, Golden Tate seemed visibly frustrated about the situation, and I can't blame him. Howie Roseman has got a tough decision to make. You've got Golden Tate on one side of the fence, who's probably going to want a substantial payday or at least secure a mid-term contract. You've got Nelson Aguilar currently set to make a $9.4 million year, where that's not going to be too great for a team that's already against the cap. So the Eagles have either got to restructure or trade, like I positioned in this lovely article here at phillysportsnetwork.com. And then you've got Jordan Matthews, who obviously would be a much cheaper, more viable option, and there's a film room on that down in the description below. But that is all from the world of Philadelphia sports this week, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's something a little bit different. If I've missed anything, let me know in the comments below. And if you want to follow myself, at Liam Jenkins 21, at Philadelphia SN, and you can stick around the YouTube channel, of course, for more content about your favourite Philadelphia sports teams, or phillysportsnetwork.com, of course, where you can have daily content around all of your teams. So we even go into college. I don't go into college. I'm in England, where we call that university, and I don't go there because I'm ending this video, and we'll see you next time.